What is up, guys? Hope you all are doing good. Probably the most beautiful bike in the country right now. Choice is definitely subjective, but in my opinion, I think this is the most beautiful bike at this moment. This is the Cbr 150R 2021 model. I got this new color with red, white and blue. I think this is the second most favorite one for me. I like the red black more. The Repsol looks nice too. And I think the first time ever I liked the Repsol on a Cbr. He looks puzzled. Alright, let's get on the bike and we'll talk about the other details while riding. Let's start the bike. You got a new instrument cluster. Nice. To be honest, I haven't seen anything start that smooth, and it revs equally smooth. Brilliant. Let's go for it. This is an all new bike for 2021 model, but in my opinion this is an all new bike that feels old only because of the engine. It shares the same engine as the previous generation, which produces 16 point something horsepower. I think even for the previous generation that was one of the negative sides, even though it was not like negative, but everyone wanted a little bit more horsepower, especially because of the R15 and the GSX-R. They both are more powerful, 19 horsepower, and the Cbr was lacking a lot compared to those two bikes. That was the main reason everyone was demanding or hoping for more horsepower. Apart from that, I think it was a perfect bike in many ways, and I talked about it in the 2019 review. You can check it somewhere up there if you want to. And what changed? Basically what changed is the looks, obviously, and the entire design was inspired or exactly same like the 250RR, and everyone was hoping for it, right? And that's what they did. It's like not 100%, but you can say 80% exactly like the 250RR. You can't really complain from any angle this bike. I mean, the headlight looks great, the tail light is perfect, the tank is more muscular and bigger. It feels more like a sports bike now rather than the previous one. And there are a lot of rumors about the new R15 and the GSX-R. It's all renders so far, so let's see what they come up with. The second significant change, you can say, the upside down fork, which is from Showa, and it's a very popular and famous brand. They usually make suspensions for all the bigger bikes, and it's really good to see it in a 150cc bike. And I have no complaints with the suspensions. I've been riding it for some time now. Last month I think I rode it for about 2 hours or so, and today another 2-3 hours. I don't know what is the best standard for suspensions. I think it's pretty smooth, pretty stable, and it looks great. Third new thing is the instrument cluster, and I'm totally disappointed. Definitely it's better than the old one, but at least look at your biggest competitor, you know? I just love the way X-Motion and the R15 does. I mean, they look nice, they're square, they're big enough, there's more information. This one still pretty much looks like the old one, slightly bigger, and I was genuinely hoping that if they come up with a new version of Cbr, this would have the same instrument cluster as the X-Motion, but that disappointed me, and probably you have to wait another 5 years for a new instrument cluster. And one more new thing on the bike, you can say, is the tank. Previously the tank was like the actual tank. I mean, it was made of metal, you could feel it, but the new one, it has a lot of fairings, and when you tap it, it definitely sounds plasticky. And that's where my negative starts. The quality is still same. The plastic quality, I think, could have been better. I would assume they definitely use the exactly same material like the previous generation. They still feel flimsy, especially the back end ones. When a pillion sits, you always tend to put some pressure on it. And I actually saw a 2021 model, and the kit of the seat was coming out, like you could see a huge gap in it. And second negative, there's no point complaining about this engine kill switch. There's something with Hondas, they know why. I would assume this is mainly because of the cost saving. The horn position is still same, but slightly better. The previous one was way up there, but I think this is more reachable. Next negative, and probably the worst of all, the chain noise. It is absolutely not acceptable. I'm sure they know this issue. I'm sure for last 5 years they have had many complaints that the chain comes off, it gets loose, there is a noise to it, and yet they decide not to do anything about it. If it comes off, if it gets loose, it's against the safety, and I think a company like Honda should focus more on that. Why would I buy a brand new bike and then I have to change the chain? Look at these buildings. Looks totally like a castle. Oh, it's some Wonderland thing. I thought someone's house or a restaurant. But anyways, I'm totally disappointed on the chain issue. And one more big change is the assistant slipper clutch. There's not a huge difference on the clutch while shifting. It almost feels like the old one, and definitely it is supposed to help on the engine brake. I think it's slightly smoother, not a huge margin, but yeah, as much as I remember riding the old one, I think the engine brake is much more smoother. Yeah, there's less noise to it and there's less vibration to it. Let's start with the power. I mean, it feels same. It definitely feels exactly the same, but I think the engine revs way more smoother, while makes a better sound than the previous one. Yep, it's a lot smoother. I mean, the way the engine revs, I think probably the smoothest in its class, and shifting is way too smooth. The gear remains the same, but it's equally smooth and I think slightly better. And the seating position is just the way I love. I've been riding it for such a long time, no complaints at all. I can't exactly remember, but I think the handlebar is slightly uppish. Like slightly, if not too much. It's pretty much straight, like I don't have to bend my wrist or twist it. It's just straight. You can actually ride this bike while being on a very straight position. You don't even have to bend at all. Maybe a little bit, but you won't feel any constraint on your back. The previous one was better. This one mastered it. Perfection, totally perfection. For seating position, for handling position, I don't think there is anything more comfortable. Next positive, of course, dual ABS. It always helps. There is no point talking extra about it. In my opinion, I would recommend and suggest, if you want to buy this bike, definitely go with the ABS version. And of course, there are other premium bikes that doesn't come with ABS. So this is definitely a huge plus point and a positive side. One more positive I found, the pillion seat. That is actually a lot more comfortable than the older one. I think I saw a video where it said that the headlight is improved now. Most 150cc bikes, they have a very poor headlamps, so if they improved it, that is definitely a positive side as well. To be honest, I wanted it to increase the power just to compete with the competitors, nothing more. You definitely don't need so much power on a 150cc bike, so that is not a mandatory or it's a must-have or something like that. But especially when the competitor has it, that's when you start to demand it. So imagine that the R15 and the GSX-R had 17 horsepower. No one would complain about this bike's power. No one, for sure. And of course, we all know in this country, everyone is like top speed, acceleration, drag race. There's so many fanatics for these things. Everyone fantasizes all these things. And that's where actually the demand comes from. But apart from that, if there is no competition, or if the competitor had similar power, I think you would rate this bike the highest. And to add one more point to the engine power, I would say that no company would make engines every 5 years or something. It's not like, you know, every time you have a new design of bike, you have to have a new engine. It doesn't work that way. Maybe they do a little bit tweaks here and there to make it more smoother, maybe improve the efficiency a little bit, but overall I don't think anyone changes engine every 5 years. And you have to think about it, there is a lot of R&D goes on when they're making a bike. It's definitely not easy, and I'm sure it's very costly. So that is the main reason I think they stayed with the previous engine. And maybe in the next generation we can expect a new engine with a bit more power. It rides more smooth, it shifts smooth, the seating position is exceptional, it looks brilliant, it has all the things you would need on a sports bike. the ABS, the slipper clutch, better headlight, shower suspension. Yeah, I mean, what else you can complain about? The tires also remains the same, and I don't think wider tire always means more grip. I think the main reason is the engine remains the same. So if they increase the tire size, they have to change a lot of things like the engine power, the swing arm. It has enough grip, it brakes great, the ABS helps a lot. So I don't think you can actually complain about the tire size either. There's definitely flaws. I'm not saying it's a flawless bike, but if you just want to pinpoint it, you will find the flaws. In my opinion, if I buy this bike, I will just fix the issue with the chain and that's it. Nothing else. I don't need any other changes. I think everything is adequate. That's all you need, right? It's not flawless, it's not perfect, but I think it does a lot of things flawlessly, and that's what makes this bike great. And like I said in the previous Cbr review, this is a true gentleman sports bike. You don't need more power, you don't need wider tires, you don't have to ride fast or get top speeds or compete with anyone. You just ride at your own comfort, enjoy the ride, enjoy the bike, you know, do your daily works, go to office, go for long tours. It will do everything perfectly. I so much wish I could go on a long trip with this bike. I enjoyed it a lot, honestly. Anyways guys, I think that's all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it helps someone or other if they want to decide if they want to buy this bike or not. So please let me know in the comments if you guys would like me to continue in English. Inshallah, I'll try my best. And that's all for today. Inshallah, I'll see you guys in the next vlog. Peace. I think जी भैया ठीक है सर okay भैया good to see you ना ना समस्या वालेकुम अस्सलाम. The chain issue, it's so annoying. The sound irritates me a lot. Thank you so much for the bike.